Hello Toyota friend, I've got here today 2004 4Runner 4-wheel drive. I'm doing a bunch of maintenance on this vehicle, and one of the things which needs to be replaced, it's a front CV shaft, and let me show you why. You are probably able to see all the grease which is spread all over around here, and the reason is because the boot is ripped. I will use the screwdriver to show you what happened. It's completely ripped. You can see it in the detail that a lot of grease is already gone. So today we don't rebuild and replace the boots, the rubber boots. We just replace the entire axle because it's the most effective way to deal with it. Of course, the axle is attached to the front differential and here to the front wheel assembly. So basically I will start by removing that entire piece away so I can remove the old shaft out and install a new one. The whole process starts with removing this dust cap to get to the large nut. After that I will remove this cotter pin here and that locking nut. This is original Toyota nut, so you are using 35mm 6-point socket. Hopefully your compressor is working and you can use your gun and remove it within 5 seconds. My compressor is not hooked yet, so I have to improvise, which means I have to put the wheel back, put the lug nuts on it. I will lower this wheel to the ground. I always use a little bit of penetrating oil, and this setup normally works for me to loosen that nut. Which just perfectly happened, as you can see. Excellent. We'll remove the wheel again, and you can see that CV axle is free and can be moved towards inside. And what I do, I remove this steering outer tie rod. So again, this is a cotter pin which needs to be removed. It's held by 19mm nut. I will use my puller to release that ball joint. You see that's a nicely loose without any damage to the boot. So you can see I can nicely turn it more, but there's still not enough space to move the shaft inward and remove. And on this model of 4Runner we got lucky. We don't have to remove the ball joint pulling it off, but the Toyota made a great design and we can just remove 2 bolts, 1, 2. It's a 19mm socket. After removing these 2 large bolts, I can finally start moving this entire assembly. Let me move the camera for you. Look at that great design. I have finally access to entire CV shaft, so I can take my heavy hammer and carefully put the shaft out. When you are removing it from here, make sure that you don't damage by the shaft any of these seals which are there. Now you can see the shaft, it's free on the outside, but we still have to separate it here on the inside. And what I use here, I use the pry bar to carefully separate that CV shaft in this area. And you can see it already happened. There might be a little bit of oil coming out, so have the pan ready. And now I'm carefully and gently moving that CV shaft out. Here we go. Once again, there is a grease and oil, so make sure you have your catching pan ready. Now everything is apart, and that's a great opportunity to go ahead and clean everything. I have compared the new and old CV shaft. They are identical, so I can start carefully and gently installing the new one back. But as I said, follow the instructions, because they are very sensitive. You cannot extend them and you have to be very gentle with those. Extremely careful you don't break any seals, either or inside or outside, but especially inside. So it nicely popped in. I always put a little bit of anti-seize on this area. Very carefully and very gently insert it inside of the hub. Don't pinch any of the rubber so you don't make any holes in it. That will be disaster. So be just careful. Pull the shaft through the hub. I will use simply that big nut. Using that 35mm. It will nicely pull the shaft in all the way, so this is great. I definitely have to visually check everything. I have no leaks here. Nothing got pinched. Everything is sitting freely, so this is great. For these two large bolts which are on the bottom, they need to be tightened really hard, and also to prevent them falling out, I will use the blue thread lock, which will make sure that they don't get loose accidentally. I'm definitely putting a lot of blue thread lock on those bolts. I'm rechecking if everything moves nice and freely. I don't have any scratching anywhere or anything. That's great. So I can continue with installing that outer tie rod. Always use the new cotter pins, don't reuse the old ones. This is my last check. Everything sounds perfect. So I'm putting back the wheel again. These shafts are coming with the new gold nuts, but they're actually not compatible because they are too shallow and the cotter pin will not work on them. So I have to use the old system. So I will install the old nut. I will go really hard with my large breaker bar. After that I will find the correct position for the locking pin, that it perfectly allows me to put that cotter pin through the hole. Again, I will use the new cotter pin. I will install this dust cap back with a little bit of anti-seize, and carefully using a rubber mallet tap it back. And that's basically it. We have brand new CV shaft installed. All we have to do is install everything back and go for the test drive. So I hope you have enjoyed this simple short video, and please subscribe, because very many videos about the Toyota maintenance are coming very soon. Thank you for your time and have a wonderful day.